Why would he admit that? He didn't know fuck all. Do you think he's ever used a dishwasher in his life? The thing that hurts the most about this is knowing that, like, Asmongold is watching. It's like, true. Mm-hmm. True. Press briefing right here. Why you guys get mad when I intro screen for like 6 minutes? Trump can intro screen for like 35 minutes. Why? What the fuck?
Thank you very much. It's an honor to be with you. Many things are happening that are exciting, very exciting for our country. And we're honored to welcome one of the most respected business leaders in the Middle East, indeed the world. He's a founder and chairman of DMAC Properties, Hussein Sajwani, a very respected gentleman. And I'm thrilled to announce today that DMAC will be investing at least $20 billion over a very short period of time into the United States, and they may go double or even somewhat more than double that amount of money. It's a great thing, and I believe he will say that he's doing it because of the fact that he was very inspired by the election.
Okay.
They wouldn't do it without that election, I can tell you. A lot of people wouldn't. You saw last week where we have somebody who's going to go from 100 to $200 billion. And we have many other people.
Someone?
And we'll be bringing some of them out.
Why is he allowed to say that? Why is he allowed to just say someone?
$100 billion. And we have
That's a lot of money.
Going to
Why
go
not name?
From 100 to $200 billion. And we have many other people, and we'll be bringing some of them out. Some of them like to do it somewhat more quietly, and some don't. And they feel so strongly about the country that they want to let people know about it. But it's an honor to have such a great investor investing in our country. The investment will support massive new data centers across the Midwest, the Sun Belt area, and also to keep America on the cutting edge of technology and artificial intelligence. He's very big into the data centers, and that's going to be a very hot item in the coming years, as you know, with AI in particular. The first phase of the project will be in Texas, Arizona, Oklahoma, Louisiana, Ohio, Illinois, Michigan, and Indiana, those places. And Hussein, I'd love you to come up and say a few words. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. President. It's been amazing news for me and my family when he was elected in November. We've been waiting 4 years to increase our investments in U.S. to a very large amount of money. We are a company operating in more than 20 countries around the world. We have delivered more than 45,000 luxury units and another 45,000 in the pipeline. In data center, we are in 10 countries around the world, in Asia, Europe, and Middle East. And we're very, very excited now with his leadership and his open strategy and policy to encourage businesses to come to U.S. For the last 4 years, we've been waiting for this moment. And we're planning to invest $20 billion and even more than that if the opportunity in the market allow us. But at the moment, we're planning $20 billion in data center, catering for the AI and cloud business for the hyperscalers.
Fantastic.
Thank you, Mr.
Great
President.
honor. Thank you very much.
Thank God.
So nice. And that man knows what he's doing. He knows. So, Hussein, we're going to work with you and make sure everything goes smoothly. We have powers that haven't really been used in terms of environmental. If you invest over $1 billion in the United States, we're going to give expedited reviews to everybody because everyone's afraid they're going to come in and get caught in the quagmire, which is very prevalent in the United States, unfortunately, the quagmire of environmental and various other regulations and rules. And I made it a point of telling people if you invest $1 billion or more, and we'll do this for people with far less too, but we guarantee it. We're going to move them quickly through the environmental process. Sometimes people are held up 12, 13, 14, 15 years. I saw it with plants in Louisiana where I got it approved in literally a week. They were through the review in 1 week after spending 14 and a half years trying to get it, and they were going nowhere. It was a terrible thing. So I've been a victim of that myself over the years. And I think I know all the games and all the tricks that are played. And much of it is just done to stop progress. So we're going to be helping you and everybody else that comes to the United States and wants to invest their money, that you don't get tied up for the rest of your life and you can't do anything. This commitment further underscores that many of the greatest business leaders on earth are seeing a very bright economic future for America since the election. As you know, a lot of positive things have happened. We are inheriting a difficult situation from the outgoing administration, and they're trying everything they can to make it more difficult. Inflation is continuing to rage, and interest rates are far too high. And I've been disappointed to see the Biden administration's attempt to block the reforms of the American people and that they voted for. We had a landslide election. We won every swing state. We won the popular vote by millions and millions of people. Nobody even knows how many people, millions. And they're still counting in some areas. You know, they're still counting the vote in some areas. Can you believe this? What a place. What a horrible place. One of the things we're going to do is we've got to fix the election so that we get honest counts and they get done by 10 o'clock in the evening or something thereabouts. They have places where they're still counting votes. President Biden's actions yesterday on offshore drilling, banning offshore drilling, will not stand. I will reverse it immediately. It'll be done immediately. And we will drill, baby, drill. And we're going to be drilling in a lot of other locations. And the energy costs are going to come way down. They'll be brought down to...
When does he say something new and like substantive rather than this like the most like the sloganeering for like this is so boring. Drill baby, drill, like the slogans. I feel like I'm listening to a fucking sped teacher. Is there when does he start saying something newer?
A very low level, and that's going to bring everything else down. That's what caused it to go up, along with the ridiculous spending on the Green New Scam. All this money, trillions of dollars. It's like throwing it right out the window what they're doing, and they're trying to spend so much now. They're just taking money and giving it to anybody that wants it for any project at all if it's certified under the Green New Scam, and they don't work and it's too expensive. And
the Green New Deal. Okay.
You know, they told me that we're going to do everything possible to make this transition to the new administration very smooth. It's not smooth because they're doing that. They're playing with the courts, as you know. They've been playing with the courts for 4 years. Probably got me more votes because I got the highest number of votes ever gotten by a Republican by far, actually, by a lot. And you know, we had a great election, so I guess it didn't work. But even to this day, they're playing with the courts. They're friendly judges that like to try and make everybody happy on the Democrat side. It's called lawfare. It's called weaponization of justice, and it's happened at a level nobody's ever seen before. So many. I defeated deranged Jack Smith. He's a deranged individual. I guess he's on his way back to The Hague. And we won those cases. Those were the biggest ones. And the press made such a big deal out of them. But we did nothing wrong. We did nothing wrong on anything. And the people saw that. You know, when they vote, when a Republican, it's not easy for a Republican. When the Republican wins the popular vote by millions and wins all 7.
Does he know? He knows that he won the election, right? Like, why is he still crying like a little bitch? Why is he crying so much? Like he won. Why is he still running over all this same shit? Is it going to be like this for 4 years? Is him crying for the last 8 years or what?
Of the swing states, people said, well, he could win 4. We won all 7, and we won them by a lot.
Did Kamala or Biden ever say anything new and exciting? At least Trump can form a coherent sentence. So 1, no, these are not coherent sentences. If you think so, it's because you're illiterate or you just can't speak English as a primary language. And 2, yeah, the whole campaign was them running on the whole presidency was them passing new legislation and doing new things. Yeah, what do you mean?
That tells you we won. That tells, and they've been watching this injustice. I call it the Injustice Department. What they've done is so bad. The whole world has watched that. And it took work, but it got me a lot of votes because when explained, I mean, we have a judge in New York who's a very crooked judge. I'm under a gag order. I can't even talk about aspects of the case that are the most vital aspects. I'm under a gag. Do you know that I'm the president-elect of the United States of America? I'm a former, very successful president. We had the greatest economy in the history of our country. We had
Is that gag order still active? Isn't the case over?
That were sealed and beautiful. Everything was good. We had no wars. We defeated ISIS. We had no wars. Now I'm going into a world that's burning with Russia and Ukraine, with Israel. You took a look at that attack on October 7th, the attack on Israel, with the horrible way they got out. Not the fact that they got out. I would have been out before them, but we would have been out of Afghanistan with dignity and strength as opposed to looking like a bunch of fools with 13 dead and many, many badly, horrifically injured. Nobody ever talks about them. No arms, no legs. Nobody ever talks about them. The way they got out was outrageous, leaving billions of dollars of brand new military equipment that I bought in the hands of the Afghans and specifically the Taliban. It's the group. And we were doing very well. We would have been out. We would have been respected. I think it's one of the reasons it was so badly handled, that withdrawal, where people are jumping onto airplanes, falling off the sides of airplanes when they're 3,000 feet in the air. And nobody's ever seen anything like that, the worst. And because of that, I think Russia went and attacked Ukraine. When they saw that, they said, these guys are incompetent. They don't know what they're doing. But we know what we're doing now. And that's going to all end. We have a great military. I defeated ISIS, as you know. We're in no wars. I just finished a couple. And we got also our soldiers guarding Syria and Turkey. We're in the middle. We had 5,000 soldiers. They would have been gobbled up with two armies. We had one army, 300,000. We had another one, 500,000 or 600,000. Getting ready. We had 5,000 people in the middle. I said to a general, how do 5,000 people do in that case? And the general just looked at me and said, not well, sir, not well.
What is this? What is he talking about? What does he think? The Turkish and Syrian armies are going to go and kill all the U.S. troops? What is he even saying?
Military. I defeated ISIS, as you know. We're in no wars. I just finished a couple. And we got also our soldiers guarding Syria and Turkey. We're in the middle. We had 5,000 soldiers. They would have been gobbled up with two armies. We had one army, 300,000. We had another one, 500,000 or 600,000. Getting ready. We had 5,000 people in the middle. I said to a general, how do 5,000 people do in that case? And the general just looked at me and said, not well, sir, not well. And I took him out. And you know what happened? Nothing. I got criticized. I saved 5,000 lives, actually.
Oh, he's trying to make it seem like the Kurdish abandonment was nothing. That's what he's trying to redeem himself of right now, because he can't handle any L's whatsoever. There's nothing he's ever done wrong ever. Yeah, but which is true in his fan base's eyes as well, right? For the cult of Trump, he didn't do anything wrong. And
we did a great job, and we're going to do an even better job, because now we have a tremendous amount of experience. We have people that I can rely on. But the 625 million acres, people can't realize, it's like the whole ocean. Take an acre. You know, an acre, you have a house on a half an acre, on a quarter of an acre, or an acre. If you have an acre, you have a big deal. Now you multiply that by 625 million acres. It's like, feels like the whole ocean. And that's our strength, you know. People can say we manufacture, we don't manufacture. The thing we have oil and gas more than anybody in the world. We're going to have more of it, too. But they took away 625 million acres of offshore drilling. Nobody else does that. And they think they have it, but we'll put it back. I'm going to put it back on day one. I'm going to have it revoked on day one. We'll go immediately if we need to. I don't think we should have to go to the courts, but if we do have to go to the courts, you know, they try to be sneaky. They go in and they say, remember, this is a man that said he wants the transition to be smooth. Well, you don't do the kind of things. You don't have a judge working real hard to try and embarrass you, because I did nothing wrong. By the way, I did nothing, absolutely nothing wrong. If I did something wrong, I wouldn't be standing here right now, because I've won all these cases. Nobody's ever won so many cases as I have against the Justice Department.
Did he win any case? What did he win? He lost the New York one. They got the two federal ones dismissed. I don't know what the status is on the Georgia one. He lost the Eugene Carroll one.
Smith had cases
twice.
All over the place. People were being subpoenaed. Lives were being ruined. They were spending everything they had, money. We were helping them out. We had to. They were subpoenaing people that had no idea what they were even talking about. That's a sick group of people. And it was all to influence the election. It was all a fight against a political opponent. We've never had that in this country. We have had that in certain countries. We've had that in third-tier countries. We've had that in banana republics, but we've never had that in a place like the United States. I don't even know if it's been on a small level. I'm sure it has been on a small level, but this was the largest level ever. They brought this moron out of The Hague. He's a mean guy. He's a mean, nasty guy. His picture was perfect, because you look at his picture, you say, that's a bad guy, with his robe, his purple robe. And he executes people. He shouldn't be allowed to execute people, because he'll execute everybody. He's a nut job. But we won all of those cases with him. And, I mean, I don't know the judge in Florida, but we had a brilliant judge in Florida that saw right through it. And we won the case. She was a brilliant judge with great courage. You know, the left, as we call them, the radical left, they have a way, they play the ref, and they play it very hard. They play the ref. They go and say horrible things about judges and prosecutors. And some judges and prosecutors say, look, the only way I'm going to get these people off my back is to give victory to them.
Remember, all the people, all the Lexes and the centrists that I talked to and everybody else that talks about how Biden's language was too divisive and all of this, none of them will call out the fact that Trump is just rattling off like a 2016 campaign speech. Like we're a decade in the past with all this random shit, but
they're playing the ref. I think it's illegal what they do. It's almost like talking. It's worse than talking to a judge. But the judge in Florida, Judge Cannon, was brilliant and tough, and she didn't stand for it. And I don't know her, and never met her until the case, and I don't believe I said even one word to her.
She's literally a Trump administration appointee, but okay.
But she was very, very strong and very, very brilliant, and her opinion was so brilliant that they dropped their appeal. They couldn't beat the appeal. So that's what we're up against. So they say we're going to have a smooth transition. All they do is talk. It's all talk. Everything they do is talk. We're going to have a smooth transition, and then they take 625 million acres, and they essentially landmark it so you can't ever drill there again. Well, we're going to be drilling soon. We're going to be opening up Anwar. We're going to be doing all sorts of things that nobody ever thought was even possible. But remember, and just to get off the subject, because I couldn't believe it when I heard it yesterday. I couldn't believe the size of it. I mean, you put down a map and put this up. It's just massive. And remember that that's worth probably, I mean, I've had estimates, $40 to $50 trillion. That's more than our national debt. Essentially, he's thrown it away. He's thrown it away.
Wait, what is he? What?
50.
I don't even know what he's talking about. That
$50 trillion. So if we owe $35 trillion, he's taken $50 trillion of value and thrown it right out the window. We can't do that. Nobody can do that. One other thing he did yesterday, which was in many
For the oil is that doesn't go right. Okay, never mind. Okay.
ways worse. It's hard to believe it can be worse. He wants all gas heaters out of your homes and apartments. He wants them to be replaced by essentially electric heaters. I don't know what it is with electric. This guy loves electric. We're going to be ending the electric car mandate quickly, by the way. This guy loves electric. And we don't have enough electricity. And then we have AI where we need more. And he wants everybody to have an electric heater instead of a gas heater. Gas heater is much less expensive. The heat is much better. It's a much better heat.
Why? True. Sometimes I feel electric heat, and it's just not as good as the heat of the gas. It's just one heat is real, and the other heat is just so much. It's such bad heat.
As the expression goes, you don't itch. Does anybody have a heater where you go and you're scratching? And that's what they want you to have. They don't want you to have gas where you don't have the problems of the electric. And the source is plentiful. They're much cheaper to operate. They're much better. They work much better. They look much better. 60% of homes and apartments have gas heaters. He wants them all removed quickly. These people are crazy. There's something wrong with them.
True.
There's something wrong with them. They also want to go back, and they have already started that, to when you buy a faucet, no water comes out because they want to preserve. Even in areas that have so much water, you don't know what to do. It's called rain. It comes down from heaven. And they want to do, no water comes out of the shower. It goes drip, drip, drip. So what happens? You're in the shower 10 times as long, you know. No water comes out of the faucet. You want to wash your hands. They want to go back to even stronger than what they have right now. As you know, I ended that policy. You can have all the water you want. It makes no difference. It comes weird, especially in certain areas we have so much water we don't know what to do with it. But these are all things. They want very, very little water to go into your dishwasher, almost none. And you know what people do? They just keep pressing, keep it going. They end up using more water. Likewise,
do you think he's ever used a dishwasher in his life? They keep pressing. What are you talking about? Wait, what? What is he even?
Washing machines, they want in your washing machine to have very little water coming out of the washing machine. So when you wash your clothing, you have to wash it 4 times instead of once. You end up using more water. We're a party of common sense, and things that I'm telling you now is really all about common sense. On January 20th, we'll turn the economy around very quickly, because right now when I think of our economy, I think about inflation. That's what we have. We have inflation, I believe.
Oh, true. The thing that hurts the most about this is knowing that, like, Asmongold is watching. It's like, true. Mm-hmm. True. He made a lot of good points in that. Yeah, 100%. True.
At a level that we never had before. There's never been anything like it. And over the next 4 years, the United States is going to take off like a rocket ship. But really, it's already doing it. If you take a look, just last month, SoftBank announced the $200 billion. I think it'll be 200. He said between 100. And I said, how about making it 200? And he sort of said yes. But let's say it's 100, but it might be 200, right, Brian? Dollars, United States, creating more than 100,000 jobs. Hussein just announced a tremendous investment that he's going to make, and that's money that's in the bank. He's going to come and do it, and he'll do a great job, and he'll build the best centers in the country, I guarantee, because I know the way he builds. Since my election, the stock market has set records. The S&P 500 index has broken above 6,000 points for the first time ever, never even close. In a single month, small business optimism soared 41 points. It's not at 41. It went up 41 points, and that's the largest in the 39-year history of the group that does it. According to Gallup, the American people's confidence in the economy has just surged to the highest level in history.
Common sense. Yep.
That's why I have a news conference like that. I take the greatest business leaders in the world. I say, hey, do you want to say you're going to invest the money? They're not looking for news conferences. They're saying, what am I doing? They go in and they invest money. But it's good to know where the smartest business people in the world are investing, and they're investing in the United States. So we've done this all in 2 months of not being there. You know, we haven't been there. And it's pretty amazing, and we think we're going to do some really great things, really great things. We're being respected again all over the world. The Panama Canal is a disgrace, what took place at the Panama Canal. Jimmy Carter gave it to them for $1, and they were supposed to treat us well. I thought it was a terrible thing to do. You know, it was the most expensive structure ever built in the history of our country, relatively. It would be the equivalent of substantially over $1 trillion today. We lost 38,000 people. Think of it, 38,000 people, they died from malaria, mosquitoes. They were unable to stop the mosquitoes. They paid people 5 times more to take the job. Many of those people died. We gave it away for $1. But the deal was that, you know, they have to treat us fairly. They don't treat us fairly. They charge more for our ships than they charge for ships of other countries. They charge more for our Navy than they charge for navies of other countries. They laugh at us because they think we're stupid.
How many other people's navies are even going through? Is any of this even true? If I read this, is this literally all going to be bullshit?
But we're not stupid anymore. So the Panama Canal is under discussion with them right now. They violated every aspect of the agreement, and they morally violated it also. And they want our help because it's leaking and not in good repair. And they want us to give $3 billion to help fix it. I said, well, why don't you get the money from China? Because China's basically taken it over. China's at both ends of the Panama Canal. China's running the Panama Canal. And they come to see this Biden, this guy who should never have been allowed even to run for president. Of course, he shouldn't have either, because that never happened. It had to be 2 people, not 1. But they want $3 billion to fix the Panama Canal that's run by China and makes a lot of money, China. One of the most profitable structures ever built, because you have ships lined up back to Florida, frankly, and they just keep going through. And the numbers are staggering, $500,000 to $1 million a ship. And they took it away from us, meaning we gave it to them for $1. But not going to happen. What they've done to us, they've overcharged our ships, overcharged our Navy. And then when they need repair money, they come to the United States to put it up. We get nothing. Those days are over. Working with the Republican majorities in Congress, we'll cut taxes, slash regulations, raise wages, and boost incomes at a pace the world has not seen before, and certainly not from our country. We had a big chunk of it for the first 3 years prior to COVID coming in my administration. We had the greatest economy in history. We cut the most regulations in the history of our country, and I did that all in 4 years, by 4 times more than any other president cut. We did that in 4 years, and we were just getting started. We'll impose new tariffs so that the products on our stores will once again be stamped with those beautiful words, made in the USA. And we are not treated well, as you know, by Canada. Canada is subsidized to the tune of about $200 billion a year, plus other things. They don't essentially have a military. They have a very small military. They rely on our military. It's all fine, but you know they got to pay for that. It's very unfair. I have so many great friends. One of them is the great one, Wayne Gretzky. I said, run for prime minister. You'll win it'll take 2 seconds. But he said, well, am I going to run for prime minister or governor? You tell me. I said, I don't know. Let's make it governor. I like it better. But no, something's going to have to be done. Same thing with Mexico. We have a massive deficit with Mexico, and we help Mexico a lot. They're essentially run by the cartels. And
Jesus.
Can't let that happen. Mexico's really in trouble, a lot of trouble. Very dangerous place. And we're going to be announcing at a future date pretty soon. We're going to change, because we do most of the work there, and it's ours. We're going to be changing sort of the opposite of Biden, where he's closing everything up, essentially getting rid of $50 to $60 trillion worth of assets. We're going to be changing the name of the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America, which has a beautiful ring that covers a lot of territory. The Gulf of America, what a beautiful name. And it's appropriate. It's appropriate. And Mexico has to stop allowing millions of people to pour into our country. They can stop them. And we're going to put very serious tariffs on Mexico and Canada, because Canada, they come through Canada too, and the drugs that are coming through are at record numbers.
Who's even in charge of like naming stuff like that? Is that like a Wikipedia war that you have to have, or?
Record numbers. So we're going to make up for that by putting tariffs on Mexico and Canada, substantial tariffs. And we want to get along with everybody, but you know they have to. It takes two to tango. We're approaching the dawn of America's golden age. It's going to be a golden age for America. We have things that nobody else has. We have more natural resources. We have, number one, nobody knew that until I came along. I made us number one. We were number three.
No one knew the U.S. had natural resources until Donald Trump.
Number one in a very short period of time in drilling. And you know, you can talk about windmills. They litter our country. They're littered all over our country, like dropping paper, like dropping garbage in a field. And that's what happens to them, because in a period of time, they turn to garbage. Most expensive energy ever. They only work if you get subsidy. The only people that want them are the people that are getting rich off windmills, getting massive subsidies from the U.S. government. And it's the most expensive energy there is. It's many, many times more expensive than clean.
Why is it's always so cleanly like hyper partisan? It's stupid. Like green energy, gay, bad, stupid, horrible, expensive, clean coal based. Like, are we going to ban LED light bulbs next? Like LED light bulbs, turn the kids trans, makes men have more testosterone if we bring back the filament ones. What the fuck were those called? Like, it's so cringe.
Natural gas. So we're going to try and have a policy where no windmills are being built, you know, off the coast of New Jersey.
Oh, incandescent. Should have never been allowed to run for president. That's a threat to domestic actors. Panama Canal, that's a threat to economic partners. Greenland, that's a threat to NATO partners. USA is no longer reliable. Yeah, you just figured that out.
They want to build like 200 windmills. The people are going crazy. Nobody wants them, and they're very expensive. They don't work without subsidy. You don't want energy that needs subsidy. Energy is a good business. You don't need subsidy. But when you build these massive towers, and they're 25 stories tall, 40 stories, they have one 70 stories tall. The blades, they take 3 ships to ship them. It's crazy. They're dangerous. You see what's happening up in the Massachusetts area with the whales, where they had 2 whales wash ashore in, I think, a 17-year period, and now they had 14 this season. The windmills are driving the whales crazy, obviously. And they had actually over, I think, 125 or something over a number of years. And we don't want that to happen. It's a disaster. It's amazing the way a true environmentalist would say, oh, we love wind. It sounds good, but that's about where it ends. You know, after 10 years, you have to redo them. And what happens is they don't do that. They let them stand and they rust, and they say, because of the environment, I'm not a believer in this, but they say you can, because it's a certain fiberglass, that the blades cannot be buried in earth. That's an environment. So what do you do with them? What do you do with them? And I don't know if you've ever gone to Palm Springs, California, or any of these places where you have long-term windmills standing. They're a disaster. They're rusting, rotting, closed, falling down. This is as you enter Palm Springs. And they put new ones next to them. because nobody wants to take them down, because why should they take them down? It's very expensive to take them down, and you can't do anything with them because the blades, you can't bury them because of the environmental protection. We'll look at that. Doesn't make sense, but that's what they say. So we are at the beginning of a great, beautiful golden age of business, and I think we're also at a golden age of common sense, because everything I'm saying to you, from a simple water faucet that doesn't allow water to come out appropriately, to all of the other elements of what we do and what we're going to do, to take $50 to $60 trillion off our country's balance sheet because some man that has no idea what he's doing, has no idea. You know it, I know it, the Democrats know it. What they did is a crime by allowing that to happen. And I'll bet you, if you asked him today, how much acreage did you submit? Essentially, did you destroy? You destroyed the economic viability of drilling in the ocean. And with AI coming along and all, you know, a lot of people don't realize that AI is going to be a big thing, but you'll need double the electricity at least that we have right now. So right now we produce electricity.
We need double the electricity. So let's kill all the green energy and bring back all the coal. Like, this is so stupid. Like,
many, many different things. AI is a very big deal in terms of the future. China is already.
And if you even think, I'm saying think, I know that's a hard thing to do. If you think about it, like, technically, green things like solar would pair so well for AI too, right? Because it's not like you need you can run jobs and stuff while it's daytime, right? You don't need like a grid dynamically responding to your giant, AI work overnight or something. Like it would theoretically, like, these energies even work well with these technologies. It's just he's so fucking stupid. Oh my God.
Building electric facilities, big, bold electric facilities. And you know how they're being fired up? With coal. They're being fired up with coal. And we're going to build bigger and better ones. People like Hussein that are doing the same thing as he is. I bet they don't do it as well because I know how he does it, but they're doing a lot of things. The problem is they can't get their permits because I say build the plant with the building. So with the structure, build the plant, because if you're going to grids are old. So they said, that's a great idea. In other words, build your electric facility along.
Are we just calling any kind of machine learning AI now? All machine learning and anything involving an algorithm, yes, is all AI now. Just like before, every single thing on the internet was the cloud and every single program was an algorithm. Now every single thing is AI, correct? Yes.
Alongside of your plant. And you could have extra output if you want, because once you build it, you can make it larger pretty inexpensively. You could have extra output, which you'll sell to the public, but build it with the plant, and people are loving that idea. So we're going to have a lot of fun making America great again, and it's going to happen, I think, very, very quickly. It's already happened. So I would say this, and this has been pretty openly reported by the news. There's never been anything like what's happened since we won the election, a couple of months since we won the election. The whole perception of the whole world is different. People from other countries have called me. They said, thank you, thank you. The perception of the whole world is different. We're going to have to settle some big problems that are going on right now. We're going to have to settle up with Russia, Ukraine. That's a disaster. I look at numbers every week, the number of people being killed in that war. People don't know, mostly soldiers now. But the towns have been obliterated. This was a Biden fiasco that that should have never happened. If we had a real president, if we had a president that knew what he was doing, Russia would have never, ever gone in. But they did.
No, you're out of your depth here, respectfully. AI right now is specifically just about large language models, image models. Good job, dipshit. Congratulations, Captain fucking Pimpleface. I'm just saying that every single technology that comes out that's new, everybody refers to everything as the new thing. That was the point that I was making.
Did go in, and we have a mess. The cities are all blown up. The people have largely left. And the soldiers are killing each other at levels that haven't been seen since the Second World War. So we'll have to get that one straightened out, too. That's a tough one. Much tougher than it would have been before it started, I can tell you that. The deal could have been made just by an average deal maker. Deal could have been made on that.
An average deal maker. What are these expressions? Was that ad-libbed, or did you tell the speech guy to write that put average deal maker? An average deal maker could have done this.
So thank you all for coming. We'll take a couple of questions. Yeah. Go ahead, please.
President, thank you. I wanted to touch on the world on fire that you mentioned, but let's start, if we could, with your references to Greenland and the Panama Canal. So what can you assure the world that as you try to get control of these areas, you are not going to use military or economic coercion?
No.
And can you tell us a little bit about what your plan is? Are you going to negotiate a new treaty? Are you going to ask the Canadians to hold a vote? What is
Who is this dipshit? Is he asking Trump for an actual plan?
These areas, you are not going to use assure, if we could, with your references to Greenland and the Panama Canal. So what can you assure the world that as you try to get control of these areas, you are not going to use military or economic coercion?
No.
And can you tell us a little bit about what your plan is? Are you going to negotiate a new treaty?
Every plan is a mystery. All plans are mystery. He can't reveal anything ever. Everything is always a mystery at all points in time.
Are you going to ask the Canadians to hold a vote? What is the strategy?
Yeah, I can't assure you. You're talking about Panama and Greenland. No, I can't assure you on either of those two. But I can say this. We need
He
them.
can't guarantee that the The President of the United States of America just said that he can't guarantee that we won't use military force to capture Greenland from... Like, what the fuck are we even saying now? What?
Them for economic security. The Panama Canal was built for our military.
Also, can somebody tell? I'm going to be honest. The only thing I know about Greenland is it's a really, really, really good territory to have in risk. Is there anything else that matters for Greenland? Like, why do we care about Greenland right now? Maritime trade. It's also good in Plague Inc. For all the bluster he's made about drill baby drill, why do you think he hasn't tried to connect Russian sanctions with America selling more energy to Europe? I don't know. North Pole resources. Makes us look bigger on the map.
I'm not going to commit to that now. It might be that you'll have to do something. Look, the Panama Canal is vital to our country. It's being operated by China. China. And we gave the Panama Canal to Panama. We didn't give it to China. And they've abused it. They've abused that gift. It should have never been made, by the way. Giving the Panama Canal is why Jimmy Carter lost the election, in my opinion, more so maybe than the hostages. The hostages were a big deal. But if you remember, and nobody wants to talk about the Panama Canal.
Sorry.
Well, because, it's inappropriate, I guess, but because it's a bad part of the Carter legacy. But he was a good man. Look, he was a good man. I knew him a little bit, and he was a very fine person, but that was a big mistake. Giving the Panama Canal to Panama was a very big mistake. We lost 38,000 people. It cost us the equivalent of $1 trillion, maybe more than that. Probably the most expensive, they say it was the most expensive structure, if we call it a structure, which I guess you can, ever built. And giving that away was a horrible thing. And I believe that's why Jimmy Carter lost the election, even more so than the hostages. Those two things.
If I could follow up on Ukraine and Iran, the two negotiations you'll be heading into. On Ukraine, you said just before it's a lot more complicated now.
Much more complicated.
Do you believe...
Because it would have never started.
Right, but it has started.
Well, not only started, the cities are largely knocked down.
So you've got what you've got. At this point, would you, to hold on to leverage in dealing with President Putin, would you make a commitment to the Ukrainians that you will keep supporting them during the negotiations?
Well, I wouldn't tell you if that were the case.
He's not... This is like he's like uncovered so many cheat codes for being president. Like, speak vague shit, never any examples. And then whenever anybody asks you a single plan about anything, you just say, well, I'm not going to say anything. I'm not going to tell you. I'm not going to say anything. I can't say anything about that. I can't talk about that.
Meant to provide a security guarantee if they do enter into an armistice or a ceasefire along the lines of the French and the Germans.
So, a big part of the problem was Russia for many, many years, long before Putin said you
Russia didn't respect us.
Could never have NATO involved with Ukraine. Now, they've said that. That's been, written in stone. And somewhere along the line, Biden said, no, they should be able to join NATO. Well, then...
Oh, he's just making shit up again. Okay, cool.
Russia has somebody right on their doorstep, and I could understand their feeling about that. But there were a lot of mistakes made in that negotiation. And when I heard the way that Biden was negotiating, I said, you're going to end up in a war. And it turned out to be a very bad war. And it could escalate. That war could escalate to be much worse than it is right now.
They can never join NATO.
Well, my view is that it was always understood. In fact, I believe that they had a deal. And then
the not 1 inch eastward. He's repeating the Russian propaganda now that it's filtered up to him.
Biden broke it. They had a deal, which would have been a satisfactory deal to Ukraine and everybody else, but that Biden said, no, you have to be able to join NATO.
This is nothing. He's just not talking about anything. Who had a deal with what? What deal is he referring to? He's just literally not referring to anything real here.
And that's always been, and nobody knows more about NATO than I. Years ago when I first started this, I didn't know too much about NATO, but I got it right anyway. I said, they're taking advantage.
Why would he admit that? He didn't know fuck all. Oh, the President of the United States of America, the leader of NATO and the free world. I didn't know much about it. I didn't really know fuck all about NATO.
Nobody knows more about NATO than I. Years ago when I first started this, I didn't know too much about NATO, but I got it right anyway. I said, they're taking advantage. I'm the one that got, and the Secretary General was here, as 2 weeks ago, saying that if it weren't for me, NATO wouldn't even exist right now, because I raised from countries that weren't paying their bills. At that time, 28 countries, 20 of them were not paying their bills, 21 to be exact. They weren't paying, or they were paying a very small portion. And I raised over $680 billion. That was the number he gave, by saying, if you don't pay, we're not going to protect you. And as soon as I said that, the money came pouring in. But Obama could have said it.
Pouring into what?
Other people could have said it. Bush could have said it. Nobody said it but me. I took a lot of heat. They said, oh, that's a threatening statement. Well, they weren't paying their bills. I said, we're not going to protect you if you're not paying the bills. So in a true sense, I saved NATO, but NATO's taken advantage of us. And one of the problems that I have, and I've said it openly, I said it to President Zelensky, Europe is in for a tiny fraction of the money that we're in. Now, whether you like that situation or not, Europe is much more affected than the United States. We have a thing called the ocean in between us, right? Situation or not.
What? Sorry, what is it again? What do we have? What's going on here?
Europe is much more affected than the United States. We have a thing called the ocean in between us, right?
The ocean.
Why are we in for billions and billions of dollars more money than Europe? And you know, they're a similar size, a little smaller, but they're a similar size economy as the United States when you add them up. And yet Europe is in for a small fraction of the number the United States is in. Now, Biden could have called them up during the term. That's what I did. I said, you have to pay your bills. And they all, one stood up. I won't say who, you'll probably have it, because the papers, the media hated to report on it. But a prime minister stood up from a country, you know, a famous meeting of 28 nations with no press, no anybody in the room. He stood up. He says, does that mean if we don't pay our bill, and at that point it was 2%, it should be 5%. It should be 5%, not 2%. But at that point it was 2%. But many people didn't pay. Some people didn't pay anything. But many people were way, including Germany. Germany was at less than 1%.
You're going to press for 5%?
Well, I think NATO should have 5%, yeah. Well, you can't do it.
Please, somebody ask him what he thinks the number is for. Please, somebody ask him. What does he think that number means? Somebody, please.
I mean, at 2%, every country, if you're going to have a country in a regular military, you're at 4%. I think they should be, you know, they're in dangerous territory. I think it should be, they can all afford it, but they should be at 5%, not 2%.
Or what does he think this 2% or 5% is of? What does he think that number means?
Have to pay 2%. But a gentleman stood up, a prime minister stood up, and he said to me, sir, could I ask you a question? You're saying we have to pay our bills. If we don't pay our bills, will the United States protect us from Russia? I said, if you don't pay, you mean you're delinquent? He said, yes. He said, if you're delinquent, we will not protect you.
Delinquent on what?
I took a lot of heat. Although it was somewhat closed door, I took a lot of heat from the media. And you know what happened? The money started pouring in. That's why NATO has money. And the Secretary General said it was the most incredible thing he had ever seen in a negotiation. Now, if I would have said, yes, we will, nobody would have paid. If I would have loved to say, yes, we'll protect you even if you don't pay. But that's not the way life works.
Two questions related to each other. First, you said on your first day of office you were going to pardon January 6 defendants. Are you planning to pardon those who were charged with violent offenses?
Well, we're looking at it, and we have other people in there. And as you see, I guess 24 or 28 people
Oh, he's just not going to say anything, huh?
came now from the FBI. That came out very quietly. Nobody reported it, but they had.
It was reported everywhere. The reason why it wasn't reported as much as you would have liked to have seen it is because there were no federal agents on the ground. But of course, if you're MAGA, there's literally no difference between a confidential informant and a federal agent. Good Logic did that to me. I couldn't believe that he said this to me. I couldn't believe that he said this to me. Oh, this hasn't been uploaded yet. When Good Logic told me, federal agent, confidential informant, what's the difference? What? The difference, by the way, is that a confidential informant is just somebody that has told the FBI something that's been happening. They're working with the FBI in some capacity to inform on people, or have at one point in time. That doesn't mean that that you're not an agent that's like employed by the feds. These are two totally, completely different things. Do you see how convenient? Is it in here? Nope. Oh.
At least that's before he lost his marbles, which frankly probably happened. So
probably happened on January 6th when he was on the floor urging Trump to call off his like lunatics that were outside trying to break into
whatever feds were the 27 feds.
Feds, 27 feds, 27 feds.
Feds were the 27 feds who were there.
You mean the people who were federal informants at one point in time, right?
Yeah, okay.
You know that report totally destroyed your entire conspiracy on your side about there being federal agents on the ground, right? Do you acknowledge there were 0 federal agents on the ground?
I don't know. That's what the feds are saying right now. But
notice how eager he was to cite that 27. I think it's 26. Notice how eager he was to cite that there were people there because the feds said it. But now he doesn't trust the feds when they say there weren't agents there, right? The picking and choosing. Like if they were going to lie about that, why wouldn't they just say nobody was there or none of those people were even CIs?
But
my
president
so you acknowledge that report, you acknowledge there's 0 evidence that there were any federal agents on the ground whatsoever.
My president.
Wait, do you acknowledge there was zero evidence?
President Biden told me that I can't trust his DOJ. I can't.
And then we meme That's
I
good because
can't
you don't trust President
them.
Biden. So you acknowledge that there's been no report, no evidence. There's 0 federal agents on the ground, right?
Are we trying to get somewhere? Or are you just trying to
You
score
just brought
points?
up out of. Now he says, I'm trying to score points after he memes his way through not answering a question when he's the one who brought up. Yeah. Ugh.
You see, I guess 24 or 28 people came now from the FBI. That came out very quietly. Nobody reported it, but they had people in some form related to the FBI. They had 4 or 5 people that were strongly related to the FBI. We have to find out about that. We have to find out about Hezbollah. We have to find out about who exactly was in that whole thing, because people that did some bad things were not prosecuted. You know, I see it all the time, and you see it too. People that were doing some bad things weren't prosecuted, and people that didn't even walk into the building are in jail right now. So we'll be looking at the whole thing, but I'll be making major pardons. Yes, please. Please.
On Jack Smith's report.
Good afternoon, Mr. President. It's good to see you again. 2 questions about Syria and the ongoing war in Gaza. About Syria, the Pentagon disclosed last month the U.S. has some 2,000 troops in Syria. That's almost double the number initially we were told of 900. Will you keep that troop capacity the same upon taking
Well, I
over?
won't tell you that because that's part of a military strategy, but I will say it was Turkey. Turkey's been after that country in different names and different forms and shapes for 2,000 years. Those people that went in are from Turkey. And President Erdogan is a friend of mine. He's a guy I like, respect. I think he respects me also. He's the one that didn't go after certain people after I requested that he not. You know who I'm talking about, the Kurds. I don't know how long that's going to be because they're natural enemies. They hate each other. But he didn't do that.
What does natural enemies mean? Wait, that's okay.
That yet, and he didn't do it in the past also. He started, and I said, please don't do that, and he didn't do it. So, but if you look at what happened with Syria, Russia was weakened, Iran was weakened, and he's a very smart guy. And he sent his people in there through different forms and different names, and they went in and they took over, and that's the way it is.
I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you. Do you have concerns about HTS taking control of
By the way, I
Syria?
have the envoy here. Is that in the back? Standing with my son, Eric, is Steve Witkoff, who's just got back from the Middle East, and he's done a fantastic job.
He has no idea what any of these abbreviations or any of these people are.
He's a great deal maker. I said, what we need there is a deal maker, because nobody makes a deal. We have people that understand where the rivers are. And
Who's going to make a deal? What, with the internal Syrian conflict? What, we're going to go in and make a deal between? We're not even a party to this. What are you talking about?
where the meets and bounds are, but they can't talk. They can't make deals. Steve's done a great job. I just want to thank you, Steve. You've been working endlessly for months, and he's working specifically on the hostages, trying to get them back.
Well, that was my second question is, Hamas
Steve, come up for a second. Maybe you might want to say a couple of words.
Sir,
I didn't
released another hostage.
I didn't know Steve was going to be here, actually.
Neither did I.
He's done a fantastic job, and it's a dangerous job, too, and we appreciate it. He didn't know about this kind of danger and the other deal-making he does. Now he sees a lot of big danger. Come on up, Steve.
Mr. President, can I ask you a second part of that? Hamas
Yeah,
released
just one
another
second,
hostage
please.
video.
I'm going to give you a little report on the hostages, if I can. Steve? Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. President. Wow. Well, I think we're making a lot of progress, and I don't want to say too much because I think they're doing a really good job back in Doha. I'm leaving tomorrow back to go to Doha, but I think that we've had some really great progress, and I'm really hopeful that by the inaugural, we'll have some good things to announce on behalf of the
Wow.
President. I actually believe that we're working in tandem in a really good way, but it's the President, his reputation, the things that he has said.
We really don't give a fuck about this thing anymore, huh? Was this just like a meme? Why don't we just like why don't we just like trash it? Like, you're not supposed to be able to do these types of negotiations until you're like officially elected, or not elected, like in office. But I guess we just don't give a fuck about the Logan Act at all, I guess, huh? Okay, whatever, based.
That are driving this negotiation, and so hopefully it'll all work out and we'll save some lives. I believe we've been on the verge of it. I don't want to discuss sort of what's delayed it. There's no point to be negative in any way. But I think it's the president, his stature, what he said he expects, the red lines he's put out there. That's driving this negotiation. I'm going back probably either this evening or tomorrow night.
Are you confident there'll be a deal before January 20th, or is that something that's likely to happen? If there's a deal even at all, and we've been hearing this now for the better part of.
I know. I would say.
They better be.
Right. I would say that the president is exasperated. I don't want to talk for him, but look, I don't know anyone who delegates better than President Trump. He gives us a lot of authority to speak on his behalf, and he exhorts us to speak emphatically. And emphatically means you better do this, because the alternative.
It's what?
Waiting for President Trump to take office.
No, I think they heard him loud and clear. Better get done by the inaugural.
But when you say all hell will be
Before I
paid,
take office.
all hell must be paid if they don't release the
You know what that
hostages.
means, don't you?
Well,
Do I have to define it for you? Look, all
No,
hell
you
will
got
break
your
out.
telegraph.
If those hostages aren't back, I don't.
Do I have to define it for you? Do I have to say anything of substance?
want to hurt your negotiation. If they're not back by the time I get into office, all hell will break out in the Middle East. And it will not be good for Hamas, and it will not be good, frankly, for anyone. All hell will break out. I don't have to say anymore, but that's what it is. And they should have given them back a long time. They should have never taken them. They should have never been the attack of October 7th. People forget
True.
that. But there was, and many people are killed. They're no longer hostages. I have people from Israel and others calling, begging me to get, we had also people there from the United States, just so you know. They're holding some so-called hostages from the U.S. But I've had mothers come to me and fathers crying, can I get the body of their son back? Can I get the body of their daughter back? That beautiful girl where they threw her in the car, pulled her by her ponytail and threw her in the car like she was a sack of potatoes. I said, what happened to her? Sir, she's dead.
Hold on, I could be wrong. I thought she was German or Austrian or whatever. Germany and Austria occupy the same place in my mind. Was that girl American? Did he go and talk to did he go and talk to her parents too? I mean he's the president, maybe. I don't know, man. Maybe. I don't even know if he knows what the fuck he's talking about. Does he even know what he's
Like a get the body of their son back. Can I get the body of their daughter back? That beautiful girl where they threw her in the car, pulled her by her ponytail and threw her in the car like she was a sack of potatoes. I said, what happened to her? Sir, she's dead. Like a 19, 20-year-old beautiful girl. And the way they treated her. And I just say it this very simply. Steve's got a job to do. He's a great guy, great negotiator, great person. They respect him over there already. It's what we needed over
beautiful.
there. We have people that know everything about the Middle East, but they can't speak properly. They don't know. He's a great negotiator. That's what I needed. I could have sent that gentleman right over there, Hussein. He's a great negotiator. There are people. They're rare. Great negotiators are very rare, like a great surgeon. But we have the right person. But I tell this, I don't want to hurt the negotiation. If the deal isn't done before I take office, which is now going to be 2 weeks, all hell will break out in the Middle East. Yeah,
Thank you, Mr. President.
You've done a great job.
Thank you.
President, more than 140 police officers were injured by rioters on January 6th. Will you pardon anyone who attacked a police officer?
Well, the only one that was killed was a beautiful young lady named Ashley Babbitt. She was killed, and there was actually...
She was killed for no reason, by the way. She was a young lady, small girl, shot for no reason by the evil feds.
somebody else that was killed, also a MAGA person, but people don't give it 100% credibility. I'm going to find out about it, and we're going to find...
Wait, who else? What? Is he talking about the woman who OD'd and was trampled or whatever? But she died from, I think, from an overdose. Fuck. I think she was on fucking Molly. the one lady. Unless, I don't know who else he could be talking
young
about.
lady named Ashley Babbitt. She was killed. And there was actually somebody else that was killed, also a MAGA person, but people don't give it 100% credibility. I'm going to find out about it, and we're going to find out. But Ashley Babbitt was killed. She was shot. She had never been shot. She was shot
for no reason
whatsoever.
Yep.
In fact, they say that she was trying to hold back the crowd.
Yeah, oh, that's the same shit my mom repeats to me. Yeah, she wasn't even going through the window. She was just there. Like, it's all on video.
Made up of a lot of different people, so we'll see. But I will tell you this, the person that was killed was Ashley Babbitt. The other thing is, when they talk, there was never charges of insurrection or anything like that. But if there were, this would be the only insurrection in history where people went in as insurrectionists with not one gun. Okay? And let me tell you, the people that you're talking about have a lot of guns in their home for hunting and for shooting and for entertainment, a lot of good reasons. But there wasn't one gun that they found. And why didn't they find the bomber, the pipe bomber? They know who the pipe bomber is. The FBI knows who it is. The status of the FBI has gone down so far, and the
It would be so fucking funny if they did a huge investigation at it. I don't think there's any merit to this, right? I'm just repeating like a funny conspiracy that I've seen, is that it was Marjorie Taylor Greene. It'd be so fucking funny.
Status of the DOJ, or as I call it, the Department of Justice. It's the Department of Injustice. It's being laughed at all over the world. And hopefully with Pam Bondi and with Kash Patel and with other people that we're putting in, that will all come back. If you do a poll in the FBI, I guarantee I'm at like...
The FBI needs a flush like you've never seen. True.
90% with the agents of the FBI, but they have hurt that incredible place. Law enforcement, I mean, you think of the FBI, they raided this house. By the way, they could have told me, could I see this? I would have given them, I actually told them, come in anytime you want. You can see anything. They raided the house, and the case was dismissed. And now I'm in litigation. I'm suing them for doing that, and I feel so badly doing it. I'm the president.
Wait, is he talking about the FBI raid on Mar-A-Lago? Wait, who the fuck is he suing? Oh, sorry,
and the status of the DOJ, or as I call it, the Department of Justice. It's the Department of Injustice. It's being laughed at all over the world.
The Department of Injustice.
And hopefully with Pam Bondi and with Kash Patel and with other...
So the president, as a private citizen, is going to sue his own Department of Justice? What does that even look like? Bro, that's the best hack ever. Can I just sue, as a private citizen, my own DOJ and then order my own DOJ to lose the case? This is like a fucking free money hack. Hello?
Other people that we're putting in...
Like, we've announced today that we're going to settle with Donald J. Trump for $100 trillion because that's what would be right.
We'll all come back. If you do a poll in the FBI, I guarantee you I'm at like 90% with the agents of the FBI, but they have hurt that incredible place. Law enforcement, I mean, you think of the FBI, they raided this house. By the way, they could have told me, could I see this? I would have given them, I actually told them.
They literally asked you for months.
Come in anytime you want. You can
No, that's not you or I. He just knows nobody knows the facts. This Nuita guy, Nauta. It's like he has a weird name. Was literally hiding boxes around. He was literally moving boxes around. to hide all this shit. Where did you get this? I invited them in. January 2021 is apparently the White House. Trump and his White House staff, including Nauta, packed items, including some of Trump's boxes. They were stored in Mar-A-Lago. They moved him around. I'm sorry, some of these are just very funny. This is like some fucking Scooby-Doo shit. Literally have pictures of these documents saying classified, just like strewn out on the floor. I was just thinking, because we were talking about, he said he wanted to attack country A, and what this was done by the military, give it to me. I think we probably can, right? I don't know. We'll have to see. Yeah, we'll have to try to declassify it. Figure out yeah. See, as president, I could have declassified it. Yeah, haha. Now I can't, but this is still a secret. Yeah, haha. Now we have a problem. Isn't that interesting? They packed 15 boxes up and they sent them back to Nara, but they left the rest there. And the Nara guy said that, oh, that's it. When asked whether he knew where Trump's boxes had been stored before they were in Trump's residence and whether they had been in a secure locked location, Nara falsely responded, I wish I could tell you. I don't know. I honestly just don't know. Trump saying to his attorney, I don't want anybody looking. I don't want anybody looking through my boxes. I really don't. I don't want you looking through my boxes. What happens if we don't respond to Nara or the FBI? I don't know if this was, no, this is to already a subpoena at this point. Well, what happens if we don't respond at all or don't play ball with them? Wouldn't it be better if we just told them we don't have anything here? By the way, regardless of the crazy attorneys that I've spoken to so far that all seem to forget this, you cannot advise your client to commit a crime. You are not allowed to do that as an attorney. You cannot give your clients advice on how to commit crimes. This is one of the few ways that you can not only find yourself in legal trouble, but your communications won't even be privileged anymore. This is the crime fraud exception to the attorney-client privilege. The attorney-client privilege does not cover statements made by a client to their lawyer if the statements are meant to further or conceal a crime. You cannot do this. Well, look, isn't it better if there are no documents? This case was so crazy, dude. It's like such a stupid. Between Trump's May 23rd meeting with Trump Attorney 1 and Trump Attorney 2 to discuss the May 11th subpoena, and June 2nd when Trump Attorney 1 returned to Mar-A-Lago. So between that meeting, to review the boxes in the storage room, Nauta removed, at Trump's direction, a total of approximately 64 boxes from the storage room and brought them to Trump's residence as set forth below. On May 24th, Nauta removed 3 boxes. On May 30th, Trump and Nauta spoke by phone for approximately 30 seconds between 10:02 a.m. and 11:51 a.m. Nauta removed a total of approximately 50 boxes from the storage room. On 12:33 p.m., a Trump family member texted Nauta, "Good afternoon, Walt. Happy Memorial Day. I saw you put boxes to POTUS room, just FYI, and I will tell him as well. Not sure how many he wants to take on Friday on the plane. We will not." Also, please, at least the Oath Keepers and the Proud Boys and everybody knew this. If you're going to commit crimes, do it on encrypted messaging. Why are they doing this shit on text? Why would you do this? Good afternoon, ma'am. Smiley face emoji. Thank you so much. I think he wanted to pick from them. I don't imagine him wanting to take the boxes. He told me to put them in the room and that he was going to talk to you about them. God, it's... Can they subpoena encrypted messages? You can just delete them. There should be no record of them anywhere. I believe there are records of your text messages and call logs, not the actual calls themselves, but text messages and the call logs that are stored with the... phone companies. I don't know how long they store the text messages call logs for, but the encrypted messages will theoretically not be anywhere. There's Trump Attorney 1 who's literally being used to commit crimes. He's not even being informed of all the crimes being committed. This is some Scooby-Doo shit. On June 2nd, Trump Attorney 1 was scheduled to review Trump's boxes in the storage room. Trump spoke with Nauta on the phone at 9:29 a.m. for about 24 seconds. Later that day, between 12:30 and 12:50, Nauta and De Oliveira moved approximately 30 boxes from Trump's residence to the storage room. In sum, between May 23rd and June 2nd, before Trump Attorney 1's review of Trump's boxes in the storage room, Nauta, at Trump's direction, moved approximately 64 boxes from the storage room to Trump's residence, and Nauta and De Oliveira brought to the storage room only approximately 30 boxes. Neither Trump nor Nauta informed Trump Attorney 1 of this information. It's just the most autistic shit ever. Trump and Trump Attorney 1 then discussed what to do with the red weld folder containing documents with classification markings and whether Trump Attorney 1 should bring them to his hotel room and put them in a safe there. During that conversation, Trump made a plucking motion as memorialized by Trump Attorney 1. He made a funny motion as though, well, okay, why don't you take them with you to your hotel room, and if there's anything really bad in there, like, pluck it out. And that was the motion he made. He didn't say that. This is why I get ass pained when Pisco compares the Biden stuff to this, even if Biden was memorializing stuff or whatever that he wasn't supposed to. Like, the difference is obvious. And then earlier that day, do we even have this stuff back? The boxes that were loaded onto an airplane and then flown to wherever the fuck Trump's residences are to the north. Do we ever get all like that stuff back, or is that just lost forever, or? Jesus.
See anything. They raided the house, and the case was dismissed. And now I'm in litigation. I'm suing them for doing that, and I feel so badly doing it. I'm the president of the United States, and I'm suing the United States, but I'm suing them for other things, too. The FBI has gone so, its reputation has been so horribly hurt between Comey, who is the worst, and all of the others. What's happened to the FBI is, and we're going to make it great again. We're going to make the FBI great again. We're going to make the Department of Justice fair and strong, but fair again. Because all they did was attack me because I'm their political opponent, and that includes with local judges like Marchand. You ought to find out. Ask them, why do I have a gag order where I'm not allowed to speak? Think of it. I'm the president.
We all know why. It's because you were going on an unhinged, deranged rant attacking the fucking judge and spreading false information about his daughter.
The United States. and I'm not allowed to speak. Why? Because if I did speak,
I'm pretty sure he can speak about the case. I just don't think he's allowed. Well, let's just look this up. Trump gag order. I thought he just wasn't allowed to talk about the judge. But let's look real quick. 2 months after his felony conviction, Donald Trump still is allowed to say everything he wants about his historic hush money criminal case after a New York appeals court upheld his gag order. The state's former president. So anyway, I lost my argument that he's unfairly muzzled. At the same time, Trump lawyer. The gag order bars Trump from speaking out about the prosecution team, court staffers, or their families, including Mercan's daughter. It's Mercan, right? A Democratic political consultant. In June, Mercan lifted a ban on Trump commenting about witnesses and jurors, and he has always been free to speak about the judge and the Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg. Oh, so it's not even about the judge himself. It was just the judge's daughter. And I'm pretty sure he can speak about the case. He can say anything you want about the case. Like, oh, God, just lie.
Would understand the scam. It's a scam. And we have very dishonest judges, and New York judges are very bad. We had one that valued this house at $18 million because it was good for that case. He actually valued that chandelier is worth more than $18 million. He valued this house at $18 million. And we have another one who was so nasty, so horrible, such a brute, a most vicious, vile person.
What are the specific differences between Trump's case and Biden's classified documents case? How do you best approach this argument with conservatives? So when it was either Biden or one of his lawyers found a document in his house, they contacted, it was either NARA or the FBI immediately to let them know, hey, we found some classified material here. What do you want us to do? And then that's how that proceeded. With Donald Trump, it was like 9 or 10 months of being unresponsive to NARA and then eventually returning some things to NARA while lying about concealing other things. Then an FBI investigation started because they realized a lot of it was classified. And then the FBI not getting responses from Trump and having to issue subpoenas. And then eventually the FBI, after not getting adequate responses with the subpoenas, had to raid Mar-A-Lago. And all during this time, Trump was using his employees to obstruct this investigation in multiple ways by moving stuff around and hiding it, or trying to get his lawyers or other people to lie to the FBI saying that all of it had been returned. This is like night and day.
These are New York judges. But we've won most of the cases, so we're very happy about that. Please.
Your position is clear, but have you directed your staff to take specific actions to draw plans? And can you elaborate again, you didn't rule out military coercion?
Well, we need Greenland for national security purposes. I've been told that for a long time, long before I even ran. I mean, people have been talking about it for a long time.
Wait, what?
Specific actions to draw plans. And can you elaborate again, you didn't rule out military coercion?
Well, we need Greenland for national security purposes. I've been told that for a long time.
This is an unhinged statement, okay? I don't understand. Hold on, there's not some dumb fucking shit I'm missing. Let me just check. I shouldn't look this up on stream in case I'm... Okay, yes. Denmark is part of... Okay, Denmark is part of our fucking alliance, okay? Like, literally an allied country. Like, in the truest, realist... Not like Israel's our allied country, but like, they're literally a country that is in a military alliance with us. I'm pretty sure Greenland is owned by Denmark. Dog, what are you doing? What are we... Why are we talking about invading our fucking allies? What the fuck are we talking about right now? What are we talking about? I hate how Donald Trump also can say like the most retarded shit, and people will always just say like, oh, no. He's just saying that like as a basis for negotiations. Like I can say like, I'm going to finish like, bro, that's unhinged. And you're like, I'm not really going to do that. I'm just like, this is just like for negotiating, okay? I just say the most unhinged thing possible with no intention of ever doing that, but it's just to negotiate.
Long before I even ran, I mean, people have been talking about it for a long time. You have approximately 45...
Who's been talking, wait, for taking over Greenland?
Can you elaborate again, you didn't rule out military coercion?
Well, we need Greenland for national security purposes. I've been told that for a long time, long before I even ran. I mean, people have been talking about it for a long time.
When? Who? Where? What? Why? And how? What? What are we... I'm not making this up in risk, and that Greenland is that it is the big thing, right? I don't even know what the countries of the things were on this. Now I guess now that I know all the countries, did they just like make shit up on this? Hold on. What is this risk map? Okay, Alaska's here. Okay, Alberta is just all of that. Okay, BC doesn't exist, I guess. All right, Northwest Territory, no one cares. Ontario and Quebec, close enough, I guess. Greenland is up here. Western United States and Eastern United States. Okay, based. Central America, damn. They couldn't even call it all Mexico or something. Okay, Venezuela is on the up and comer. Okay, we got Brazil, Peru, and Argentina. Okay, based. Do we really need these Paraguay, Uruguay, these like smaller, Ecuador, Colombia? Who knows about those? Okay, no one cares. Oh, wait a second. How much of our world leaders just making military decisions based on on the risk map? Wait, what is happening right now? Why is it Northern Europe, Southern Europe, Western Europe? I bet risk was made by an Eastern European. And he's like, fuck, nobody likes Eastern Europe. Fuck it. Just call it all Ukraine. Fuck this shit. No, it was made by a Western European. Scandinavia. Iceland. Great Britain. Ouch. Great Britain is just the name of the island on the right, right? The United Kingdom is the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Ireland. Ouch. So they didn't even call it like the UK or England or whatever the fuck. It's all just okay. We have the Middle East based. Okay. Hell yeah. Okay, we got rid of all the stands. That's good. Fuck that shit. South Africa. All right, our good imperialist friend has grown. Siam based. Damn, China got fucked. What the fuck is this? Holy shit. They dicked down Russia hard. Oh my God. Russian provinces? Bro, there's like Moscow and St. Petersburg. I don't think any of that is real. There's not even real stuff over there. That's just where you send the undesirables. Oh, and I think like way over here, a bunch of Jews lived, right? Where did all the Jewish people live? Jewish people, it lived in Russia. $1900s. The Pale of Settlement. Fuck, I don't trust any of this fucking AI bullshit. God, the AI shit is so bad. Jewish Autonomous Oblast. Oblast is such a funny fucking word to me now. Oh yeah, look, they are way over there. See, look, I remember stuff. Right up here next to North Korea. Okay.
You have approximately, I've been told that for a long time, long before I even ran. I mean, people have been talking about it for a long time. You have approximately 45,000 people there. People really don't even know if Denmark has any legal right to it.
If you speak it enough into existence, hey, maybe not.
But if they do, they should give it up because we need it for national security. That's the
What the fuck? This is my leader, the United States president. Hello? What are we doing right now? Please stop talking. Can somebody take the mic from this guy? Vance, where's the 25th?
for the free world. I'm talking about protecting the free world. You look at, you don't even need binoculars. You look outside, you have China, ships all over the place. You have Russian ships all over the place. We're not letting that happen. We're not letting it happen. And if Denmark wants to get to a conclusion, but nobody knows if they even have any right, title, or interest. The people are going to probably vote for independence or to come into the United States. But if they did do that, then I would tariff Denmark at a very high level. No, we're not at that stage, but we have people. I haven't even entered office yet.
Secondly, sir, Elon Musk has drawn some criticism and a lot of attention for some of his actions and provocative statements about foreign affairs, including in Europe. Your reaction to that, is that appropriate for...
You mean where he likes people that tended to be conservative? I don't know the people. I can say Elon's doing a good job, very smart guy. I don't know the people you're talking about. He was, I know he said some negative things about a couple of people that are running for office, but that's not so unusual. Yes, please.
I wanted to ask you about Ukraine and Putin. How soon do you anticipate going to meet with Putin to discuss the Ukraine situation?
Well, I can't tell you that, but I know that Putin would like to meet. I don't think it's appropriate that I meet until after the 20th, which I hate, because every day people are being, many young people are being killed.
Oh, so now you're not, now you shouldn't do it, or okay?
Soldiers. The land is very flat, and hundreds of thousands of soldiers from many hundreds of thousands from each side are dead, and they're laying in fields all over the place. Nobody to even collect. There's landmines all over. It's a disaster. But it's very flat. It's great.
Isn't this borderline acting like Russia, bullying smaller countries to take the... No. Don't compare this to Russia. When Putin is like bullying people, Putin has like a coherent dream vision of what he wants like a reassembled Soviet Union to look like. Donald Trump is just like fucking throwing darts on a map to try to figure out what the fuck it is he wants to take, or what's like his new obsessive thing. I don't think I've heard him utter the phrase like Panama Canal or Greenland until like a week ago. When did this talking point start? What the fuck?
It's farmland, and it's very flat. And the only thing that stops a bullet is the human body. And the human body is stopping a lot of bullets.
He has that Greenland phase in the first term. Wait, does he? Donald Trump, Greenland, before 2020. News about Greenland. Oh, wait, 29 minutes ago. Wait, before 2020. Why is this not... Isn't this supposed to work? Before date? I thought it was just before, colon. Go back in the video 10 seconds. Why? Would it?
All over the place. Nobody to even collect. There's landmines all over. It's a disaster. But it's very flat. It's great. It's farmland, and it's very flat. And the only thing that stops a bullet is the human body. And the human body is stopping a lot of bullets.
Oh, he I don't know where he learned this phrase, but he says this a lot. It's just fucking...
Within the first
I hope to have 6 months. No, I hope long before 6 months. Look, Russia's losing a lot of young people, and so is Ukraine. And it should have never been started. That's a war that should have never happened. I guarantee you, if I were president, that war would have never happened.
Okay, Monk linked me a clip from 2019.
Greenland, I don't know. Greenland, I don't know. It got released somehow. It's just something we talked about. Denmark essentially owns it. We're very good allies with Denmark. We protect Denmark like we protect large portions of the world. So the concept came up, and I said certainly I'd be strategically. It's interesting, and we'd be interested. But we'll talk to them a little bit. It's not number one on the burner, I can tell you that. Well, a lot of things could be done. I mean, essentially, it's a large real estate deal. A lot of things could be done. It's hurting Denmark very badly because they're losing almost $700 million a year carrying it. So they carry it at a great loss. And strategically...
How many people live in Denmark? Is it really a fiscal drain on them? Why did I put Denmark? Sorry. I was going to say, in Greenland, there's 6 million people? No way. I don't even know where he's getting any of these fucking numbers from. I have no idea.
For the United States, it would be nice. And we're a big ally of Denmark, and we help Denmark, and we protect Denmark, and we will. In fact, I'm supposed to stop. I'm thinking about going there. I'm not necessarily definitely going there, but I may be going. We're going to Poland, and then we may be going to Denmark. Not for this reason at all, but we're looking at it. It's not number one on the burner.
Okay.
Nominate to replace Michael Barr as vice chair for the...
I'll be announcing somebody.
If you were working under the assumption that you're serious about making Canada 51st state of the United States, the leader of the Conservative Party in Canada said, under no circumstance will it ever be the 51st state.
Maybe he won't win, but maybe he will. I don't.
You had suggested
Listen, I don't care what you
But Sir Lopez, you say you're considering military force to acquire Panama and Greenland. Are you also considering military force to annex and acquire Canada?
No, economic force, because
To annex, what was the other thing?
In Greenland, are you also considering military force to annex and acquire Canada?
no.
Annex inquiry? Inquireda? In
Greenland, are you also considering military force to annex and acquire Canada?
No.
Oh, to annex and acquire Canada. Oh, thank God. Okay. Okay. Military's on the table for Greenland, off the table for Canada. Thank you. Whew. Okay. At least we clarify that one. Thank goodness.
Economic force, because Canada and the United States, that would really be something. You get rid of that artificially drawn line, and you take a look at what that looks like, and it would also be much better for national security. Don't forget,
Wait, why does he have the exact opposite take with Canada as he does with Mexico? You get rid of like free trade, like interflow of goods and services. Like, why is he super pro free trade when it comes to Canada, but not when it comes to Mexico? I'm going to be honest. No offense to Canada, and I love you guys. I feel like taking over Mexico would actually just be better for the United States. They have a way bigger workforce. Listen, if you're U.S. and you hate H-1B, you hate Indians now, whoo! You haven't seen fucked, okay, Indian type immigration, all right, in the U.S. You don't even know what that looks like. Will you annex Canada? Whoo! You're going to have something to be racist about. Okay, just kidding. Not good. You should never be racist. But like,
we basically protect Canada. But here's the problem with Canada.
Does the European Union imply military collaboration? Does NATO supersede the EU for member states or both? So the European Union is an international. What the fuck is supranational? That's within nations, right? That would just be national. Supranational? International. What's the difference between international and supernatural? Supranational. The EU is just a large kind of like governing-ish body. It doesn't do military stuff. There is no military component of the European Union, unless you ask Tim Pool or some people who think there's a secret EU military or whatever. NATO is only a military alliance. NATO, I don't believe that we don't do like cash transfers or subsidizations or any kind of like economic trade stuff for NATO. NATO is just military stuff. European Union. There is a defense pact in the EU, though. Is there? Control F. Defense. Ooh, they spell it wrong. Just kidding. The European Defense Community. Is that the same thing? Jesus Christ, what the fuck? Really? Really? What, I'm supposed to turn my fucking head? Hello? Do you guys stop donating to Wikipedia? Okay. There might be some kind of military defense common. Inter equals connected and super equals above comes from Latin. Supranational supersedes the power of nations. Okay. Super is above. So the EU is a supranational because the EU is a government on top of it, right? If a member state is the victim of armed aggression on its territory, the other member states shall have towards it an obligation of aid and assistance by all means in their power in accordance with Article 51 of the UN Charter. They shall not prejudice the specific character of the security and defense policy of certain member states. And then you have to be consistent with your NATO commitments. No, it's based on treaties, not a constitution, so it's still international. International versus supranational. This is supranational. Instead means over the nations. Oh no, it would be supranational, not supranational. I thought ra meant in and meant like out. Like like your intranet or intrastate is within a network and inter is out. ER is just the English version. Oh, whatever. I don't care. Fuck this. Who cares? We're gonna blow them all up anyway.
So many friends up there. I love the Canadian people. They're great. But we're spending hundreds of billions a year to protect it. We're spending hundreds of billions a year to take care of Canada. We lose in trade deficits. We're losing massive. We don't need their cars. You know, they make.
It's your. Can somebody raise their hand and say, Donald Trump, why do you keep talking so poorly about trade with Canada and Mexico? Wasn't that your trade deal? Wasn't that your trade deal? Didn't you negotiate that? Didn't you renegotiate that? Wasn't that literally your trade deal? You were the one. That was yours that you were so proud of, right? Why are you so upset about your trade deal?
20% of our cars. We don't need that. I'd rather make them in Detroit. We don't need the cars. We don't need their lumber. We have massive fields of lumber. We don't need their lumber. We have to unrestrict them because stupid people put, restrictions on, but I can do that with an executive order. We don't need. We have to unrestrict them because stupid people. We don't need their lumber. We have massive fields of lumber. We don't need their lumber. Oh. We have to unrestrict them because stupid people put, restrictions on, but I can do that with an executive order. We don't need anything they have. We don't need their dairy products. We have more than they have. We don't need anything. So why are we losing $200 billion a year and more to protect Canada? And I said that to, as I called him, Governor Trudeau. I said, listen, what would happen if
Just as a reminder, you're not losing money on a trade deficit. That just means that we're buying more from them than they're buying from us. But that money can still make its way back to the United States in other ways, like investment. Like when he keeps bragging about these companies are coming back to invest in us. One of the reasons why they might be, and I don't know, this is getting too microecon? I think it's microecon. Macroecon? The combination of both, I guess. I don't know. When you talk about like the trade, the books, what's it called? The books. There's a name for the book. The balance book. There's a name for the book. Metal dipshit in chat will say it soon. Part of other countries investing in us is them holding USD because they have so much because of trade imbalance, so that money comes back and then they reinvest in the United States. You're not necessarily, balance of payments. That is one other thing. We're not necessarily just losing money. It's not just like.
We didn't subsidize you, if we didn't, because we give them a lot of money. We help them. As an example, we're buying icebreakers, and Canada wants to join us in the buying of icebreakers. I said, we don't really want to have a partner in the buying of icebreakers. We don't need a partner. But
wait, why not? We don't want to work with other countries and be.
Because we give them a lot of money. We help them. As an example, we're buying icebreakers, and Canada wants to join us in the buying of icebreakers. I said, we don't really want to have a partner in the buying of icebreakers. We don't need a partner. But no right. Nope. No right. Here's what we have. We have a right not to help them with their financial difficulties because we owe $36 trillion still. We're going to start knocking it out pretty fast, but we're going to be able to do it because of energy and other things. But no right. No right. But why are we supporting a country, $200 billion plus a year? Our military is.
We're not supporting them. We're buying things from them. That's trade. We're buying from them. We buy things from them.
At their disposal, all of these other things, they should be a state. That's why I told Trudeau when he came down, I said, what would happen if we didn't do it? He said Canada would dissolve. Canada wouldn't be able to function if we didn't take their 20% of our car market. They send us hundreds of thousands of cars. They make a lot of money with that. They send us a lot of other things that we don't need. We don't need their cars, and we don't need the other products. We don't need their milk. We get a lot of milk. We get a lot of everything. And we don't need any of it. So I said to him, well, why are we doing it? He said, I don't really know. He was unable to answer the question. But I can answer it. We're doing it because of habit. And we're doing it because we like our neighbors, and we've been good neighbors. But we can't do it forever. And
this is your trade deal. This is your trade deal. Why does nobody tell him this? How does nobody call him out on this? NAFTA was superseded by the U.S. Mexico-Canada Free Trade Agreement or whatever. How is he allowed to do this? How does nobody call him out on, the North American Free Trade? No. That was what NAFTA was called. USMCA. The agreement between the United States of America, Mexico, and Canada.
It's a tremendous amount of money. And why should
What is your personal opinion on the USA buying Greenland? Stupid. Why would we buy Greenland when we could just use our military and take it over? Dumbass. Destiny, legitimate question. But when we buy from other countries, is that money considered out of circulation here? And does that affect inflation at all? At the end of the day, my guess, oh man, hold on. There might be a really complicated answer to this that I don't think I can give you. Theoretically, the answer should theoretically be no, but my guess is going to be in the real world, it is slightly yes. So like, say for instance that I buy $1,000 worth of goods from another country, and then they come back and they only buy $500 worth of goods from me, then they have $500 of my country's currency over in their country. Now, they might come back to the United States and then invest that $500 in a business or something. So then theoretically, at the end of the day, it should all be a wash. But there might be more complicated economic transactions down the chain that influence how that looks. Yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't be able to say what with a high degree of conviction.
Our neighbors, and we've been good neighbors, but we can't do it forever, and it's a tremendous amount of money. And why should we have a $200 billion deficit and add on to that many, many other things that we give them in terms of subsidy? And I said, that's okay to have if you're a state. But if you're another country, we don't want to have it. We're not going to have it with European Union either. European Union, we have a trade deficit of $350 billion. They don't take our cars. They don't take our farm product. They don't take anything. And so we're not going to have it with them either. Brian, go ahead.
Yes. Happy New Year, by the way.
Thank you.
We have some breaking news. You may not be aware of this, but it looks like Cannon has blocked the DOJ from releasing the Smiths report until further court proceedings.
Good for her.
Wow, that's a big story.
Yeah.
So if I get it right, the fake witch hunt started by the DOJ having to do with books and records, and Biden had many more, and he wasn't protected by the Presidential Records Act, I was. But all of that fake stuff that took the lives of people, I mean, literally destroyed people. People are destroyed because of what they did. Destroyed. But we got to be president. But Biden...
I can't. Oh, I can't.
Destroyed because of what they did. Destroyed. But we got to be president. But Biden did it for 40 years. He did it when he was a senator. That was illegal. And they ruled it was illegal. How about that? They said, it's illegal, but he's unfit to stand trial. So he can stand and be president of the United States, but the prosecutor found that he's unfit for trial. I was going to use that as a major talking point, but I never got to use it because all of a sudden I had a new candidate who was also sort of unfit to stand trial, right? But so what you're saying...
Well, I don't understand why you guys keep spamming about American Greenland-based Pituffik space base. Well, I don't know why you guys keep spamming about this. The U.S. has bases all over the world. I don't know why you think this is relevant or important or why this matters at all for any of this conversation. I don't know why everybody keeps spamming about this.
Is that the judge just blocked the... So Cannon was thrown off the case. They dropped their appeal because he had no case. They dropped all of that, the lawsuits against us. They lost the lawsuit. So this is Doreen Jack Smith. So he dropped the lawsuits. He was told to by the DOJ because they had no lawsuit. They lost in court in front of a very strong and a very brilliant judge. They lost.
I know dollars and euros are very important for countries with weaker currencies. I don't think currency management is a problem for the U.S., though. Yeah, one of the annoying things, and this is why I hate the fact that politics has become so globalized and that everybody is on the same fucking team, because we all genuinely have different problems. Like Canada might have issues with Indian immigration, unless I've just been literally brainwashed from fucking racist Canadian talking points or subreddits. But like, my understanding is Canada has some pretty stupid loopholes with how you can go into Canada to study and basically have like a path to citizenship or permanent residence through that, and that it ends up like having a ton of people, especially Indians, that are getting into Canada in ways that they probably shouldn't be, and that it's ending up being kind of a drain on the country for a variety of reasons. Maybe that's not true, though. Maybe I need to do more reading into that. There might be issues with certain types of immigration throughout Europe, in that some countries might have trouble supporting immigrants. Like, these things might be true generally speaking for Europe. It's not true for the United States right now, though. So when we all like have the exact same talking points, it doesn't map on. It doesn't map on cleanly, and it makes us make stupid decisions and stupid policies. We don't have the same problems that the European Union has. We don't have, our currency is a bit different. The United States is the global reserve currency. We have like one of the most stable and dependable economies in the world. We don't have to stress about our currency necessarily the same with other people. Not that we can just be wild or wacky or crazy with it, but like, we have unique advantages and stuff, and we have unique opportunities, and we have unique problems. And to just lump us all in together like we all have the same problems in the same ways is just so stupid.
In court, and that pertained to other cases in other courts. So he wanted to do a report just before I take office, probably. So he'll do like a 500-page report, and it'll be a fake report, just like the investigation was a fake investigation. And I said, well, wait a minute. This guy was thrown off in disgrace. In disgrace. He's going back to The Hague or wherever they're going to send him. In disgrace, because he failed so badly. because it was a fake case against a political opponent. They thought they were going to use this to beat me. So what you're saying is, I'm just hearing that they're not allowed to issue the...
You take our standing as the reserve currency for granted. For example, the pound collapsed, the yen collapsed, etc. I'm not taking it for granted at all. What do you mean? Why would you plan for your currency to no longer be the reserve currency when that isn't the case right now unless you make it? Why would you do a self-fulfilling prophecy? That's like saying you take for granted the U.S. is strong. Remember what happened to Rome. What?
The report. So if they're not allowed to issue the report, that's the way it should be. Because he was thrown off the case in disgrace. Why should he be allowed to write a fake report? It'll only be a fake report. That's great news. Good.
And if I can just follow real quickly, you want to comment?
Somebody should ask, has there ever been a negative news article or court case against you ever that hasn't been fake? A single one ever?
Americans are angry that we're sending millions of dollars every month to the Taliban. Do you anticipate?
It's not even believable. Billions of dollars, not millions, billions. We pay billions of dollars to essentially the Taliban, Afghanistan. And that's given by Biden. That's the same man that took away $50 to $60 trillion worth of value from the United States. Think of it. Probably our most valuable asset. Took away our most valuable asset. This can't be allowed to happen. We are now a nation of common sense. When he does that, 625 million acres, this can't be allowed to happen. Thank you for the information. Most other people probably knew about it, but they wouldn't have told me, right?
Mr. President, on the campaign trail, you vowed to bring down the prices at grocery stores very fast.
Yeah, we will
but
do it
then
fast.
you recently told Time Magazine that bringing down prices would be very hard. So what can the American people expect when you get into office?
So, Mr. President, you kind of say like contradictory shit all the fucking time. Which one is true?
But then you recently told Time Magazine that bringing down prices would be very hard. So what can the American people expect when you get into office?
Here's what I'll say. The economy is very complicated, and there's a lot we can do, and it's going to be an economy like no one's ever seen before. We're going to do it better than anyone's ever seen it before.
It's hard to bring down prices when somebody else has screwed something up like they did, but we'll bring them down. We'll get them down. Energy is going to bring down prices. We're going to have a lot of energy, and energy is what brought it up. Energy and their bad spending is what brought it up, and energy is going to bring it down. We're going to have prices down. I think you're going to see some pretty drastic price reductions. As an example.
Oh,
food.
so we are going to see price reductions or not? Or food? Is he about to, did he just discover that food goes to stores on trucks? So if energy comes down, maybe food can come down? He like just found this out. He's so excited to share this with the audience. Maybe that's not what he's sorry.
Food, bacon, ham, apples, everything has gone through the roof. It's one of the reasons I won. So as you know, I said it, inflation was one of the reasons I won, but I think the biggest reason I won was the fact that they are allowing prisoners to come into our country. They released their prisoners, their murderers.
Okay, never mind. Okay.
Thousands of murderers are now
Do the insane asylum bit.
walking around the streets of our cities and farmland all over. Murders, people that have killed, many, 32% have killed more than one person. They release them from their jails, their prisons, and their mental institutions and insane asylums into our country. I believe that's the reason we got such a large vote. Maybe one or two more questions? Yeah, please, go ahead. Go ahead, you go.
So can you, President Carter is laying in state today in Washington. You had some harsh words for him about the Panama Canal. Is there any disconnect there? Do you feel a little bit bad about doing that on his day?
No, I liked him as a man. I disagreed with his policy. So, hey, he thought giving away the Panama Canal was a good thing. I think it cost him the election. That and the hostages. I actually think that was a bigger factor because that's a deal that just should not have been made. But again, this was a question that was asked of me. I didn't bring it up. I didn't want to bring up the Panama Canal because of Jimmy Carter's death. But people don't bring it up. But, you and other people have asked me about it. No, it's a deal that I was very strongly against. I was a young guy when this took place. But just why would we spend all of that money, lose 38,000 people to malaria, the mosquito? They would.
Can you explain what you mean when you say that Trump surrendered to the Taliban? The United States had a presence in Afghanistan that was basically supporting the Afghanistan government. The Taliban didn't like that. The Taliban wanted to run the country of Afghanistan again. And so Trump had a meeting with them on Doha, basically saying, hey, as long as you promise not to kill our people on the way out, we'll leave. And then you guys can do basically whatever you want in the country. And it's basically yours again. So our 20-year adventure in Afghanistan came to an end with Trump basically negotiating a surrender in Doha to the Taliban.
Dying. It was horrible what was happening. They paid them 4 times more than they would make in the United States, but they know they were going to go over there and die. And they died in the jungles of malaria. There was nothing we could do to stop it. 38,000. And then we gave it away for $1.
$1. That's all we just gave it for $1. And he intentionally scheduled the pullout after his term also, by the way.
38,000. And then we gave it away for $1.
Your agenda through Congress. You appeared to open the door in your radio interview yesterday for 2 bill approaches. It's still your preference for one big, beautiful bill, as you have said.
Well, I like one big, beautiful bill, and I always have, I always will. But if 2 is more certain, it does go a little bit quicker because you can do the immigration stuff early. Now, you have to understand, for immigration and for the wall.
Destiny, just watched your video on the Sam Hyde Elon Musk thing. When people like him say Jewish, context was he said moist critical is Jewish. I don't know if it was a meme or not. What do they mean? Is Jewish a religion and ethnicity or what? Jewish refers to basically an overall subversive ideology that tries to control the world through coercive but subversive means, and it's typically ran by ethnically Jewish people. It doesn't have to do with the religion.
Wall. We won the case on the wall. You know, they tried to sell the wall for 5 cents on the dollar, by the way. And we had, fortunately, a judge that stopped that. But they were already discarding the wall.
What is he? He's just making stuff up. Those pieces were already sold. They were told by Congress to be sold. They had to sell them, but they didn't use them. And they were already sold by the time he started complaining about it. It's already gone. There's no way. What is he talking about? Because somebody linked me an article. Did they manage to seize them back after they had sold them, or what?
And 5 cents on the dollar. You know what they were doing? They were calling us up and saying, we'll sell it back to you at 200 cents. In other words, double what we paid for it. So they were going to buy it from this guy for 5 cents on the dollar. They were making deals. Unfortunately, we had a very smart judge that stopped it cold. I think he called for an investigation, too, and he should. But think of it. They were selling the wall. That was exactly the wall that the Border Patrol wanted. That was designed by them. Steel, concrete, rebar, exactly as they want. Very, very heavy steel, very powerful steel, hard to cut. Very, very heavy 7,000-pound concrete, which is a very strong concrete. Everything was top of the line. Very expensive. Would be double what we paid for it then, 6 years ago. But let me just tell you, they were selling it for 5 cents on the dollar to people, and those people were calling us.
Can you step into the mind of a Republican and explain how any of this is good? Like 50 alarm bells are going off in my head, and I don't know how the reporters can even stomach it. I mean, what do you mean? Asking about what? Everything can be, if you just think about it like emotionally, it all kind of makes sense, right? But you just have to disconnect from any fact.
Let me just tell you.
Like the wall is important. Biden was trying to get rid of the wall, and the government was doing evil things to get rid of the wall. But Donald Trump's getting the wall back. That's it. It doesn't really matter what the details are.
We're selling it for 5 cents on the dollar to people, and those people were calling us, asking us to pay them 200 cents because it's a good deal because we can have it immediately. And you know what immediately is? Just leave it in place. No, the papers haven't written that though. That deal is like all the other things that these people do. These people either hate our country or they're very stupid. And I don't believe they're stupid because nobody can cheat on elections like they cheat and be stupid. They either hate our country or they're stupid. So remember what I said because nobody wants to report it. They were selling the wall for 5 cents on the dollar and trying to resell it back to us for 200 cents or less, but for 200 cents on the dollar. That's a nice return.
Meta announced that it would stop putting fact checks on the post on its website. And Meta said today it would stop putting fact checks on its website and instead allow community.
Well, I watched their news conference, and I thought it was a very good news conference. I think they've come a long way. Meta, Facebook. I think they've come a long way. I watched it. The man was very impressive. I watched it on Fox. I'm not allowed to say that. Say it?
Do you think he's directly responding to the threats that you have made to him in the past?
Probably. Yeah, probably.
The last time you were here, you were asked a question about the U.S. possibly launching a preemptive strike on Iran. You said you wouldn't answer that question.
On who?
Obviously, on Iran. The U.S. launching a preemptive strike on Iran's nuclear facilities.
And I said I don't talk about it. It's a military strategy.
But it is legitimate.
Just to be clear, wait. I'll give you this mad take at 65% conviction because maybe there's some military strategy I don't understand. The whole point about a preemptive strike is you're supposed to have that be public knowledge. People are supposed to know that you're going to preemptively strike in order to discourage you from doing the thing. That's the whole point. There's no reason to have a secret preemptive strike. That doesn't make any sense. The whole point of a preemptive strike is if I think you're going to do a thing, I'm going to come and fuck you up. But if that's a secret, then they're just going to do the thing and now you fucked up. Why would you do that? Why would there be a secret preemptive strike? Why would you do that secretly?
It's not really, because only a stupid person would answer it. Look, it's a military strategy, and I'm not answering your questions on military strategy. All right, one more. Brian, go ahead. Brian.
Could you give us a preview of what you might be talking to leaders of Congress who are expected to come here in the next couple of days? And you've got a very supportive Congress behind you.
Yeah, they're great. So we have a wonderful Republican Congress. We have a leader that I have a lot of confidence in. I think he's going to be, hopefully, a great leader, a great speaker. And we have a leader, by the way, in the Senate I think has been great. John Thune has been doing a fantastic job. But it goes through the House first. And the question is whether or not we do the two bills or one bill. And, look, I can live either way. I like the idea of the one big bill, but I can live either way. But they'll be coming down. The senators also will be coming down. And then ultimately we'll be meeting in the White House in a few weeks. But right now this is the winter season. They sort of call this the winter White House. It was built, I don't know if you know this, Marjorie Merriweather Post and E.F. Hutton built this. It was the greatest of all the estates in our country. And I saved it, and I got a lot of credit for saving it. Most of these big, great houses have been knocked down in Palm Beach. Just about all of them, actually. And you built 10 mansions on one site. But
Robert's good or bad, but do you agree Trump winning is way more fun than if Kamala won, although especially watching it from Europe? Maybe if you're European, although you guys are the ones that are going to be toast before us, so fuck you, okay?
We saved it. But this was built as the Southern White House. And she gave it to the government. And, by the way, Jimmy Carter gave it back. He said it's too expensive for the United States. So I didn't realize that.
I was just told.
Actually, Jimmy Carter, Nixon was through Watergate. He came down. Nixon came here once, and he thought it was incredible. But he had a thing called Watergate, if anybody remembers that. And so he had other things.
What people keep saying was the 6-Day War a preemptive strike? These are two people hurtling towards hurtling towards like war. It didn't matter if you have a policy of preemptive strike or not. This was not a calculation from either side. I'm saying that in general, if you look at a country like Iran, you can have like two ways to respond to threats. You can either respond to them proactively or retroactively, or after it's happened, right? If you don't want Iran to get weapons, then you say, hey, if we see you building nuclear reactors, we're gonna go fuck your shit up, so that they don't go after nuclear reactors. But you would say that because the whole goal of having that policy is to discourage that kind of policy on their end. You don't want them to do that thing. So you tell somebody, hey, if I see you doing this, I'm gonna go fuck you up. But you wouldn't have having a secret preemptive strike thing. It defeats the purpose of it, because then they're incentivized to still try for the thing. Why would you do this? Or not retroactively, retrospectively. You would want to discourage somebody with that sort of deterrent force, basically. But telling them not to do something is not a preemptive strike. It's the threat of one. No. Well, yes, it's making your policies known. It's making your policies known to the world. Like for nuclear weapons, I believe most people, I think, except for like France, the policy is we do retaliatory nuclear strikes, but we won't be the first nuclear strike. It makes everybody know that you're kind of on the same playing field. Except I think France might be wacky with that, but
things on his mind, to put it mildly. And Jimmy Carter felt that it was too extravagant for the country. So fortunately for me, he gave it back to the foundation, and I bought it from the foundation.
There's no non-reconciliation. Some Republicans saying in trade for a massive bill that you and they share the interest in, they want to see big spending cuts. Do you agree with that?
Well, I'm okay with spending cuts. I like spending cuts. Just I'm on the record for spending cuts. And the debt ceiling was given to us. It shouldn't have been, but it was put in our lap. And what I want in terms of debt ceiling isn't the ceiling. I just don't want to see a default. That's all I want. I never talked about spending more money necessarily than all I want to see is no default, because nobody knows what would happen if there was a default. It could be 1929 and it could be nothing, but that was put into our lap, and it shouldn't have been, but it was, and so we'll handle it. But debt ceiling is not about raising a lot of money. It's really just about extending it. I just want to see an extension. So the debt ceiling, fortunate, and he thought it was incredible, but he had a thing called Watergate, if anybody remembers that. And so he had other things on his mind, to put it mildly. And Jimmy Carter felt that it was too extravagant for the country. So fortunately for me, he gave it back to the foundation, and I bought it from the foundation.
There's no non-reconciliation. Some Republicans saying in trade for a massive bill that you and they share the interest in, they want to see big spending cuts. Do you agree with that?
Well, I'm okay with spending cuts. I like spending cuts. Just I'm on the record for
why didn't you do any then?
Spending cuts. And the debt ceiling was given to us. It shouldn't have been, but it was put in our lap. And what I want in terms of debt ceiling isn't the ceiling. I just don't want to see a default. That's all I want. I never talked about spending more money necessarily than all I want to see is no default, because nobody knows what would happen if
I don't think he knows what any of these things are. I don't think he knows what it means to default. I don't think he knows what the debt ceiling is. I don't think he knows what the debt is. I just don't think he knows what any of this stuff is.
Was a default. It could be 1929 and it could be nothing, but that was put into our lap.
How much legitimacy is there to the whole Greenland is important for global security and both Russia and China want it thing? No, there's zero. It doesn't matter. It's not legitimate at all, because the United States already has full access and control of and to Greenland because it's in our military alliance. What are you talking about? We don't need to do anything with it. They're part of our alliance.
And it shouldn't have been, but it was. And so we'll handle it. But debt ceiling is not about raising a lot of money. It's really just about extending it. I just want to see an extension.
Sir, on immigration. How much can you do by executive order, are you planning to do on executive order when it comes to immigration? And how much do you want Congress to tackle this issue? And also on day one,
well, I have the safest border in the history of our country by far. You remember the famous chart that I brought down. I love that chart very much for a lot of reasons. But I have the safest border.
Trump had more border crossings in his last, I think, month before COVID presidency, or actually, no, wait, I think it was in his last month after COVID than I think Obama had for any single quarter or month or whatever, like in his entirety. Does the... I don't know if they keep track of this. Wait, I'm just putting... Well, actually, we can just look for the Trump chart. Trump border crossing chart. This is the one that Trump uses all the time. So for some reason, Trump says that he left office here. I don't know why he does that or who made this chart, but this is not when Trump leaves office, unless he's just saying he went AFK or stopped giving a fuck like 2 months or 3 months into 2020. But Trump leaves office at the beginning of 2021 here in January, right? Even though he didn't want to. This is Obama's immigration stuff here. Donald Trump's illegal crossings were higher here than they were ever under, even in the peak Obama part here in end of 2016? Would Trump have been in office yet? Not until 2017, right? So, but I guess if you assume that Trump left office 8 months early, it's okay. Like, it's just so stupid. That's okay.
By far in the history of our country. And when I took it over, it was a mess. Nothing like it is now. This is 10 times worse. I got elected because of the border the first time, and I think I got elected largely because of the border the third time. And the second time I did equally well. Well, not as well as the last time, but I did very well. And I will say, this was too big to rig. You know the expression? Too big to rig. They couldn't do it. They tried, but they couldn't do it.
Okay.
I didn't get very much from Congress at all. I just said that we're being invaded, and I took the money out of the military. Much of the wall, I built over 500 miles of wall. Much of that wall was built through money that I put into the military. We took it out because we couldn't get things from Congress in those days, and we took it out. And that wall was built largely with money coming from the military. So, very simple. I went to the military, I said, our country is being invaded by very similar, nothing like what's invading our country now. They weren't releasing prisons into our country, and they weren't releasing mental institutions in, but some bad dudes were coming in, right? And I said, our country is being invaded. And I took that money largely from the military. I was sued 9 times by the Democrats in Congress, and I won all those suits. And we ended up building 571 miles of wall. Once that wall was built, they started going around it. So we're going to add another 200. That would have been up in 3 weeks. And then we had a very unfortunate election result. And they said, we don't want to put it up. We'll sell it. And they started selling it for 5 cents on the dollar. What is it? So we'll do this again. I just want to thank everybody very much. I'm just telling you, this will be the golden age of America. It's the golden age of America. We're going to have a great country again. We're a country right now under siege. We have so many different problems, and nobody respects us overseas, but now they do. The Italian prime minister, as you know, came here the other night, just flew in and flew out. She wanted to see me. And great respect is being shown when I went to the cathedral in France. Great respect was shown by the prime minister, the president, by everybody. France was, and by the way, I have to say they did a great job in the cathedral. But great respect is being shown to our country again. And we have a great country, but we have to run it properly. It's going to be run properly. We want to get back those hostages for Israel and for us. You know, we do have people that are hostages being held. And I'll just say it again. If this deal's not done with the people representing our nation, by the time I get to office, all hell is going to break out. Thank you very much. Thank you.
I don't even remember what the fuck he said about this.
I said, this is genius. Putin declares a big portion of the Ukraine. Putin declares it as independent. Oh, that's wonderful. So Putin is now saying it's independent, a large section of Ukraine. I said, how smart is that? And he's going to go in and be a peacekeeper.
Wow, welcome to all of Russian history with people on the border. Welcome. Yes, wow, so fucking genius.
That's the strongest peace force. We could use that on our southern border. That's the strongest peace force I've ever seen. There were more army tanks than I've ever seen. They're going to keep peace all right.
When was this audio recorded? Was this from 2022? Jesus.